This is my Kershaw Blur, purchased back in 2005. I've carried it everywhere ever since. I like the knife, but I have found out that the Tonto blade shape and the serrations are features that I don't like. I would much rather prefer a plain edge. Here I have a blade from another Kershaw Blur that belongs to my brother. Unfortunately, the tip broke off. I'm going to be using this as a template to create a new blade for mine. The blade will be made from 1/8 inch thick 01 tool steel. I've removed the thumb stud, which presses into a interference fit hole. That way the blade will lay flat. I drill the pivot pin hole as well as the thumb stud hole. However, the thumb stud hole is drilled slightly undersized. I've completed the profiling of the new blade blank. I've roughly duplicated the important surfaces on the back of the blade, the lock bar surface and stop pin surfaces. You can see here the blade should fit far enough down into the handles to conceal the tip, but not so far that the blade interferes with the fasteners on the back. Here I've left the lock bar surface slightly proud. That is to say, there's extra material on there, so much so that the lock bar can't actually engage yet. I don't know if the tolerances will change during heat treating, so I will do the final grinding of the lock bar surface after heat treating. Once again, using the filing jig that Aaron at Golf Custom showed everyone how to make. A link to his video will be in the description. One thing I learned while using this filing jig is you have numerous holes at different distances to adjust the angle. However, I don't recommend using that to adjust the angle after you've started working on a blade, because it will change the angle of your plunge line. One thing I did differently though is rather than a steel rod as the guide rod, I used a piece of steel conduit. It was extremely cheap. I think a 5-foot length was less than $2, and due to its diameter it's still nice and rigid. I find blackening the blade with a marker really helps you see where you're removing material. Here you could see the blade after cleanup mounted in the handle as a final test fit. I still haven't ground in the lock bar surface, nor have I reamed out the thumb stud hole. Those will be done after heat treating. Sharpening this blade is going to be a lot of work because it's never had an edge established. So I chose to use the Lansky sharpening system to make it go as quickly as possible. Here I have applied hot glue with the intention of keeping these areas bright and shiny and cold bluing the rest. However, that really didn't work out and I wound up just bluing the entire blade. With the lock bar surface ground in and the thumb stud installed, I gave the blade a cold blue treatment and this project is done. The hot glue left behind a pattern regardless, which I thought was kind of interesting. So back into my everyday carry for another 9 years.